Obviously hilarious. We had a good time with it. I'm sure Trump is embarrassed as he always is. I'm sure Mike Lindell's taking his laps right now. But I'll go back to what I said a few weeks ago when we talked about it. When Trump says I'm gonna get installed or reinstated back on August 13, I want somebody to ask Jen Psaki is does they look at this as a threat to President Biden's life? Because I do. When they say I'm going to get reinstated, that means something has to happen to Biden, right? And we saw Trump already once to send violence on January 6th. He wanted them to kind of hurt Mike Pence. So I know it's all jokes and fun like that, but I really would like to ask Jen Psaki myself. Maybe I'll tweet at her and just be like, are you guys watching this, or because we're seeing this? I know you guys didn't think anything would happen on the 6th, but we all kind of did. So what's going on here? Is there like an open file case? Can I make a witness statement or something? Yeah, and you told me like I'm sure they're obviously aware and they're watching him, but I don't know. This is a bigger deal than the media really makes it out to be, in my personal opinion. I think this is
Well,
actually it's all jokey, but I think this is a big deal.
here's a question though: have they, normally when these predictions fall through, they come up with a new date or what have you?
Yeah.
Do we have a new date yet, or
Yeah,
what?
Mike Lindell is just saying late fall. He's not giving a date anymore. He's just basically saying sometime in the fall.
He's pathetic. He's absolutely pathetic. They're all
For
pathetic,
sure.
but you bring us a good point though about the danger that we're confronting because of these whack jobs. And I will tell you, um, and it's a good thing I forgot about it. But going into the parade I was in today, I was a little fearful that someone who is definitely not of the community that I was in was going to maybe target it. And so I mean, obviously, I wasn't kept up at night about it because I participated and I had forgotten about it, right? When I was on the grounds, from the time I was on the grounds to the time I came home, I wasn't thinking about it, but I know that I worried about it beforehand, and I know that now I'm recounting that, right? So it's weird. I know that Pelosi, I think, sent a letter to Kevin McCarthy telling him about how he's got to get some of his members in line. Um, I it's but it's weird because I'm going to now tie it back to not only politics, which is all about politics, but I'm going to tie it back to electoral politics. I think that the party has gone so far over the Republican Party that I think that their base is smaller. I think when you talk about um how much of the Republican Party believes in this craziness and believes in the Trump stuff, I also think it needs to be put in perspective that we should be scared as hell, but we should also be mindful of that the Republican Party is much smaller today than it was even 4 or 5 years ago. And I wonder if there's not going to be some. I, you and I have talked about this over and over, and it goes back to the Voting Rights Act and everything else. I still think that some of the stuff that we just covered are arguments for the Republicans possibly not to have a successful midterm the way that the out of power party does. Because I just think that there's a lot of folks who are like, it's one thing when you're trying to go ahead and keep taxes from being raised and everything else. It's another thing when the future of the country's at stake, and I really think that the future of the country, especially democracy, is at stake right now.